Okay, so I do have room on my memory card to make this video, I think. Oh my gosh, my back. I'm like on the wrong side of the couch. I feel like I'm gonna fall off the back. Um, so yeah, in this video I want to talk about, see, I already forgot what I was going to talk about. Um, Forgetfulness, that is what I was going to talk about. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I mean, I know I'm in an elevated and an altered state right now, and I actually, I have been taking meds for the last few days. So, there, that's something to get into another time, but please do not send me a message and say, take some medicine, because I realize what's going on with me and I am taking the medication. But anyways, side point. I know people are just concerned. I'm not trying to be a pill or anything. I appreciate the concern. But what I want to talk about is being forgetful, and like, it's more than forgetfulness. It's like a complete sort of distortion of your memory. And I just made a blog post, I think, about this. How being in a really elevated state can at times affect your mind in that manner. It affects more than just your mood, like I said. It's not like, oh, when you're manic, you're happy, and oh, when you're depressed, you're sad. It's like, that's the general idea in the public of what it is, but it involves, you know, your senses, all of your senses, and different processes that occur within your brain, like I say, cognitive type functioning. And so I've told people this, you know, over the years about, you know, getting forgetful or forgetting things when I'm in this kind of a state. And it's funny because people don't really understand what you're talking about. They say, oh, everybody gets that way. Well, no, they don't. I know for a fact that what I am feeling is not what people, normal, average person would consider when they forget something. Because yes, everybody does forget things at times. But when you get to a point where you're kind of like unaware of what day it is, what time it is, what month it is, you can't remember something you were literally just talking about as you were talking about it, you might have a complete blank, literally like a black screen in your brain, like there's nothing there. You're trying to retrieve it, but it's not coming to the forefront. And so that's what I've been experiencing a lot of, and that happens, I know it happens in dissociation, but this is not the same. Like, the dissociation I think of is more related to anxiety type things. Like your mind just kind of detaches. And this is something completely different because I'm going through my daily life. I don't have any anxiety at the moment. Like I said, I was taking medication that helps with the anxiety, but obviously certain parts of my brain aren't quite functioning as they're supposed to. And the thing that really stinks about it is they don't really even completely know. I mean, they know, like I say, in a generalized fashion that it affects, it's, you know, like your limbic system, which is, it affects more than just emotion. It's a lot emotion, but it's a lot, like I say, cognitive processing type things, like your memory and your perception of things and things like that. So, yeah, like I have found myself over the last week especially, but probably longer than that, you know, off and on, having these lapses, which is, they're almost like amnesia. And it becomes like, the way I normally think in a normal state is like in a chronological fashion, in a linear fashion. That's how I think. I just think of like this day, and then this day, and then this day, and this day. This month, this month, this month, the next year. But in a state like this, like, it all seems to run together, and it's almost like I can't piece things together in a chronological fashion. It's like, if I do think of something or remember it, I ask myself, did that happen an hour ago, or did that happen like 2 days ago? I can't remember. Or I don't, it's almost like not remembering, but like not knowing. Like you don't have a reference point to go off of. You're just like, you know, instead of things being linear like this, it's almost like you take a bunch of pieces and dump them in the middle, and you're trying to pick out like, what orders does this go in? And it's just a really weird kind of a phenomenon. It's a really weird sensation to think to yourself, oh, I need to pick up, I need to go get a recipe or something. And you go to where your books are, and you stand there and look at your books 30 seconds later, and there's a complete black in your mind. You don't understand why you're standing there. You don't know what you're looking for, and it's not like, oh, 2 seconds later it comes to you. You just walk off because you're so confused you don't even know why you were there in the first place. And that's happening to me a lot. This kind of goes along with my last video I made about being distracted and going from one thing to the next. Well, the distraction and the not being able to remember and the memory kind of lapses and amnesia, it's like it all really goes together. But it's just tough because I look outside and I'm asking myself, what day is it? Which is normal. People ask themselves that, but I'll stand there just looking outside, even knowing it's snowing in front of my own eyes, and I'll be asking myself, is it July? I don't know. Is it July or is it December? Not knowing where in the course of a year I am, or where in the course of a day I am, or just stuff like that. Or I think I mentioned in my blog, having conversations with people. This is really bad, and not just in this period right now, but I've had stuff like this a lot in the past, of not remembering what I say to people, or if I even talk to them at all. And people say, oh, you said such and such. Well, I don't remember saying it. Or I'll have a vague sense of knowing I had a conversation with somebody, but about that much recall about what was said. I had a conversation with somebody the other day and was texting and then talking on the phone, and I didn't remember when I talked to them on the phone, 5 minutes later, I couldn't even remember what I had texted to them. So I think I was saying the same thing over, and I said, I don't know if I already said that. And they said, yeah, you did. And I was like, I didn't remember saying it. Then later on in the day, I didn't even remember 90% of the conversation. The conversation was apparently almost 20 minutes long, and I thought it was 4 minutes long. I just thought it was hey, blah, 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 goodbye. Apparently it was a whole conversation, and I thought, where are those other 15 minutes? They happened, but they're not in there. And I have been struggling to remember what was said. I don't know. And that's really frustrating feeling, to not have the anchor, like I say, of time and place and all this stuff. And in the video I made a couple videos back, again, about being altered, people think, oh, what a cool artistic video, and I'm glad that people like it, but that's really what the sensations are like. The sensory things, stuff being bright or dark, stuff being almost distorted. Well, it is distorted. All of the sensory processing things become out of order. And when it all comes together, it can be a very confusing experience. And, it comes and goes. It's kind of like this over the course of time, because I'm not like this every minute of the day for the last week or two, but there are periods throughout the day where it's, I can talk to you about it now, but I probably won't even remember what, going through all of this tomorrow. Or maybe I will, I don't know. So again, that's just an interesting comment on the way you sense things and perceive them, and what is happening in your brain. Because I think people always get this idea, you're doing that on purpose, you're doing these things on purpose. Well, just because I can tell you something doesn't mean you I don't know, doesn't mean I'll remember it later. I can guarantee you that a lot of the stuff that I am doing is not on purpose. It's not even conscious. I think it's unconscious. In certain areas of your brain, they function on a deeper level that you're not aware of the processes occurring. But anyways, that's something for another time. So I'm going to stop rambling. I know I'm talking really fast, and my mouth is very dry from the meds. It's terrible. It's like sandpaper. But I'm going to stop and try to go complete a few of the tasks that I started earlier.